Good morning. Happy hump day. Hello, hello, Laura, Aaron, Eleanor, Shawnee, Silver. Hello, hello, hello. I'm sorry, Aaron. That. Whoa. Let's zoom this out a little for device. Hello, everyone. You know what would make everyone feel better this morning? Me singing. Hey, Kia. I think a lot of people are struggling with the desire to just be done. I mean, I'm struggling with it. Hey, Minnie. I'm, yeah. This is, yeah. Morning, Maureen. I wish I had a better answer for people. Unfortunately, this, again, it's one of those things where I'm feeling it every single day too. And I just don't know where to go with it sometimes. Oftentimes. Because I unfortunately see things getting better. My son graduates soon. His entire senior class is saying, what's the point of trying? We don't have a future. And the other problem then comes is, how do you convince them that they do? It's unfortunately something they're going to have to fight for. Morning, Summer. Summer, did you see my response to you? New reports showing the orange trader. Okay, good. Profited off the classified documents he stole. I wish I were surprised. I wish I were surprised. I say once and I will say again. That this will go down in history as the most corrupt administration ever. No, and nothing will get done because the people that would do something about it are the ones in charge. So yeah, nothing's getting done. At least not now. Your brain isn't fully engaged yet. That's fair. That's fair. I'm curious to see how this is covered in history books. It'll probably depend which state you're in, just like normal. Which is dumb, but the fact that different states can teach different history is wild to me. And the reporting that the GOP are excited about their recess coming up. I was like, do your job. Well, to be fair, that's in schools, Shawnee. I think people are going to write books about it, though. Whether school will teach it the way it really happened. I'm so happy my kid will be out of Texas education before the new history books are released for next year. Yeah. I feel you, Aaron. Such a weird, messed up world we live in, and I'm dumbfounded daily that this is what we're living through. It doesn't matter how many times we talk about it. I'm just in complete shock that we are taking such a okay. Now, part of the other problem is just our education system as a whole. They don't give enough time to teach. It's all about tests and stuff. Truly difficult to imagine 3 more years of this. Just trying to get through 2026 is overwhelming. It's only March. I feel like it's been a decade. Seriously, DDC. Hey, Carla. A bit of good news. Only 2 more sleeps till Friday. That is good news. I mean, there is good news. Democrats flipped a seat in Florida with the district with Mar-a-Lago in it. They flipped it. Sorry, I've been so nihilistic lately. My SSRI stopped working. You know, I don't blame anybody for the way people are reacting to what's going on. That's the part that I need people to understand. Like, everyone reacts differently to what they're feeling. My personal reaction is when things get kind of crazy, I get a little more focused, which sometimes looks like I don't care. But I've learned that if when things get overwhelming, if I start trying to focus on everything, I get overwhelmed and then I do nothing. And because of my Parkinson's and the depression that comes with it, if I let myself get too broad, I'll end up doing nothing. And I can't afford to do nothing. So when things get really crazy, I tend to get really focused on things that I feel I have control over. I used my rage to keep going without having to. There you go. Or I get focused on laying in bed. Executive dysfunction and overwhelm shutdown is real. Yep. And it's yeah. Yeah. Hey cat. Like I'm trying to get ahead on the videos for posting, but then my brain is also like, I'm fighting the why bother problem now in my brain, which isn't fun. And I know that what I'm doing is important, but my brain is saying, why bother? Because when I post a video and it gets like 20 views, or it gets a decent amount of views, but the view time is like tiny, I'm like, meh. My brain's just like, why bother? People don't care. I watched Victoria's video this morning. I followed her for a couple years now on TikTok. Yeah. Yeah, Victoria's pretty cool. She was on Tom, I can't remember his name's live a lot. What's up, Shell? I compartmentalized. I learned to do that a long time ago. I have high functioning anxiety. She the one from Tennessee? Yes. Seen her take. Yes. Yeah, she likes to she likes to debate. No, not Matt. I mean, she has done things with Matt too. We actually talked about it. Tom what's his name? Fortunately, even if he went away tomorrow, the results of his actions would... Oh, yeah. Yep. That's a reality. Noble. Nope, not Noble. Tom Powell. Tom Powell. No, and there is no easy fix. And I think, unfortunately, there are still a lot of people that... Yes, the guy from Illinois. Yep. Um, I think there are still a lot of people in this country that that believe that the fix is easy, or want to believe that the fix is easy. And it's just not, unfortunately. I mean, even the video that I posted yesterday during my walk, almost time for your cucumbers and squash to go on the ground. Heck yeah. Sure. Sure, Kia, we can talk about it. Y'all are my first politics of the day. I set a boundary with myself that I'm not allowed to do the news until after the lives. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, some of the horrors, yes, Maureen. In the end, the overarching problem is still the lack of involvement and education and the ability to communicate by the people that vote, by society in general. Society as a whole is still lacks the desire or the willingness to be involved and be educated on what's going on in the world or in the country, for goodness sakes. And unfortunately, until we can get past that problem, it's going to be a struggle. What's up, Rosa? It's true. Even Mar-a-Lago looks better in blue. Yep. I also saw that one of the airlines has shut down the special services for Congress, for members of Congress to be able to get through the lines faster and easier. Delta, that's right. Delta. Yes, Trump voting by mail and still having his district go blue. Yep. Got to ease into the day. I wish I could do that. No such thing as easing into the day. Yes, all the airlines need to join Delta in that. Yep. Totally agree. 100%. Also end the night the same way, something I'm passionate about and brings me good feels. Hey, in the end, you have to do what you can do to survive, just as long as you're not actively avoiding any information ever. That's the problem that we deal with as a society, is too many are actively avoiding any information. Like that idea of I don't do politics. That's why I keep pushing the reality that life is politics. So you cannot there's actually no ability to say I don't do politics. I'm reading Eric Larson's The Demon of Unrest about the Civil War. The parallels between then and now are mind-blowing. The prologue is about how shocked he was watching Jan 6 and the similarities. Saying that a lot of Republicans, yes, there's a lot. I mean, I'm hearing that from people I interview constantly. People saying that like Republicans coming up to them and saying, I'm voting for you, and I've never voted Democrat in my life. Hey, Jeremiah. Did you see them backhanded compliment Hegseth and Miller and their faces fell instantly? I'm sorry. I'm missing something, Rosa. Morning, Clara. How are you doing, my friend? It's been a little bit. Struggle is real. Yes, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I start my day wondering what new bullcrap is happening, kind of like taking, yeah. Trump said that it was Hegseth's idea to go to war and complimented Hom on it. He never compliments other people and not himself. I think Pete knows it wasn't good. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's realizing that how unpopular this war is and is trying to push the blame onto other people. Yep. Very MO for this administration. Yup. Bond did the same to Miller and his face fell in public. Yep, there are people around me who are completely oblivious to everything. The person I live with doesn't know why costs are up. Yep, and that is the ultimate problem. In the end, that is the ultimate problem. Right? Right, DDC? I mean, hell, even it's come to light that the United States has put together a 15-point peace plan and sent it to the Iranians. They haven't talked. They just sent a plan to them. Pretty much just so they could say that they sent a plan. No one's actually talked with each other. They now say that the president doesn't control gas prices. Of course they do. Oh, yeah. And we've got 1,000 paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne that are heading over to the Middle East now. So that is now 3. That is 3 groups. That is 3 military groups now. Talking? Who does that? Not this administration. I mean, this administration does like to talk. Hubs and I are now planning on what we need to cut. I may not continue school in the fall. I'm sorry, Carla. Yeah, the 82nd are the elite paratrooper, our elite paratrooper division. They're the people that get dropped over countries behind the lines. I'm not sure why we'd want them, but unless they're expecting to drop them onto that little island. In the end, I'm not sure what they think that many troops could actually do, but good morning. I don't see why they'd use them for anything other than to drop them for awe factor for a night drop. They're highly trained. Yeah. Trump probably thinks we can drop them off inside the country. Probably. For spending over $250 a week on food, it's not normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. Doing okay. Little late of a start today. You know, I feel you. I feel you. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't some spec ops already over there somewhere. I literally bought a bucket of food with 25-year shelf life from Costco just in case. Yeah. It's hard to not feel doom. It's also hard to know exactly how to tell people to prepare. But Yeah, the problem is depending on what you're talking about, I don't even know what I like. That's my problem, is what could I actually stock up? Like, I don't have much space in this house. Like, what could I actually stock up on that would last me long enough? Because I think there's going to be shortages for things for a long time. Definitely refill meds. What's up, Shug? It's too early. I'm sorry, Carol. I'm sorry. Guys, if you missed it, just so you know, I also have a gaming channel, and Shug and I on Tuesday nights on Twitch and on here just play games and have a good time. It was a lot of fun. Especially EpiPens and inhalers if you have Medicare or Medicaid. Yep. Oh, I know. Do you play Warzone? I have, Ghost. I pretty much only play games that I can play with people at this point. Like, I won't stream solo games anymore. I just can't. I just can't do it. It's not enjoyable to me. I don't get enough people watching. I just got here, but you see that Trump is being represented by a Dem. I did, Philip. We were talking about that earlier. I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. You want to, I'm diamond rank on Warzone. I mean, I'm definitely open to it. Right now, I'm, because of all the editing I do. Hey, Lady Prairie. Most of what I'm doing has to do is on is editing. I'm either editing, I'm contacting people to try and get them, which that has just plummeted, by the way. Like, I can't even, it's boggling my mind how the number of people looking to be interviewed has shrunk. Like, I've got 4 more this week, and I've got none next week. Now, part of that's me, but still. Like, after this week, I have 1 interview scheduled for the entirety. Think it'll pick up again the closer we get. I hope so. I hope so. Yes, going live on TikTok. You emailed a few more people yesterday? Thank you. I appreciate that. I know a couple people are focusing more on local, and they're like, if and when we win our primary, reach out again. We'd be happy to be on. So, hey, Carrie, good morning. Nope, that's not it. That's it. Hello, long time no see. I'm worried that our governor race, yeah, hopefully people will drop out. I agree. There was a poster at the army headquarters. It was of Jesus Christ firing a mortar. Oh, of course it was. What time zone am I in? Eastern. Eastern. I'm in North Carolina. Hello, hello, hello. It is a good new name. Those comments by that one pastor about Tellurico are deplorable if true. I don't know what comments you're talking about, so I cannot say. I still think it's hilarious that this administration thinks that that them sending a peace plan is them negotiating. I think that is the funniest thing. Like, you realize oh, Hegseth's pastor? I wouldn't surprise me. I know which pastor you're talking about. He's out there. But yeah, that whole 15-point plan that Trump seems to think is their negotiation is yes, Rosa. Yes, he is the one that said that. Guys, welcome everyone who's over on TikTok. I appreciate you being here. Yes, Arkham. It is that actually I posted a video about it this morning. It was that great. Hey James. Yeah, guys, if you wouldn't mind doing this. And if you know other people that like to have good conversations, please share it with them. Let's get this party going. Let's grow this community. Yeah, I don't even think you can do that anymore, Carla. Contagious Kindness. I love that name. That is a great name. You saw ICE arrested a 5-year-old. You know, I wish I were surprised by that. Hello. Yeah, that sounds like something he would say. Yeah, at least $5 now. I think if you're lucky, $5 now. Hey, Stu. Kelly! How you doing, my friend? It's also wild to me the fact that the Senate is already talking about their recess when they still haven't been able to fund anything. Like, I think that is the part that frustrates me the most. Like, they talk about not getting paid or all that other stuff. No, I don't think I don't it it bothers me less about the no pay thing or getting paid thing than it does with them being able to go home. I don't think you should be allowed to leave the chamber except to go to sleep. Like you get to go to sleep, you get 8 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep, whatever, and then you get escorted back and you have to sit there in the chamber, Senate and House, both of you, until something gets passed if the government is in any kind of a shutdown. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, SJ. Yep. Good morning. This bill. What bill? Dems need to stay and show up every day ready to work. As far as I mean, I don't know what they're doing, but should be locked in with sleeping bags and porta potties with 3 meals of beans and rice a day until they fix this. There you go. Why did they vote for a man with 6 bankruptcies? That's a great question, SJ. I don't know why anyone voted for a man with 6 bankruptcies. Every child could have free lunch for the entire year with the money spent in 1 weekend. Yep. Yes. Yes. And they want 200 billion more. That'd be a stinky chamber. You know, that is the least of their problems. Jonathan, that to me is the least of their problems. Thank you, Christine. And Rosa, Shug, Chrissy, Alejandra, Catherine. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, she's in our neck of the woods, right? Or she's right around or in our neck of the woods. Is that right, Kelly? Love when Mar-a-Lago loses. You know what? Me too. We know that we won't be doing town hall during recess. No. No. Why would they do that? Why would they do a town hall? Why would they talk to the people? It's like the interview that I posted yesterday. She said that during the interview she was talking about her current congressman who actually said out loud that he's been told not to talk to his constituents because when he talks to them, he loses votes. Like, Florida win gives you some hope. It's true. Why would they even talk to people who are currently barely surviving because of them? Because in their minds, the people that are barely surviving are because they're not working, or because those people aren't working hard enough. For everyone who's not is barely surviving right now, just know it's because you're not working hard enough. Because you aren't cheating the system like they are. Does HR 7006? I don't know. I haven't looked at that, so I cannot say one way or another. Who is they? MAGA, GOP. The people that run things right now that are taking away money from poor and working class. The Dems don't know. Dems aren't doing this. Most of the things that are causing these problems are things that Dems had either voted against or had no part of. Trust me, I'm more than willing to blame the Democrats for anything. So everyone in Minnesota are doing things legally. That is not an argument. That has nothing to do with our conversation. Minnesota, what people may or may not be doing that are legal in Minnesota has nothing to do with everyone's cost of living and not being able to afford things. Hello. No, it doesn't. No, it literally doesn't. We spend over $6 trillion a year. You think that a couple $billion is the reason everything is more expensive for us? That's bullshit. They're asking for $200 billion more to fight a war that has no actual purpose or end game. And you're sitting here talking about maybe a few $1 billion, and that's just assuming that everything you are hearing from these people is true? I can afford everything because my wife and I work. Oh, well, if you can afford everything because your wife and you work, that must mean everybody can. A billion, thousand, million, trillion, million. Yes, right, Wonder Dog. Yep. This president has cost this country and taxpayers more during this war than anything that went on in Minnesota. And again, not saying what happened in Minnesota is right. If there was fraud in any state, the people that perpetrated that fraud should be held accountable for it. I don't care what state you are, what party you are under. Why can't you understand that? You guys are the only ones that look at things as Democrat and Republican when it comes to those kind of things. Remember when it was supposed to be Kamala. Remember when what was supposed to be Kamala. Already also true, Jonathan. Yep. Yes, there have already been indictments by the state government in that case. No, he made the pandemic worse. And the unemployment rate has not dropped. His response to the pandemic made it worse, especially his initial response. The current president of the United States. No, you're good. Check the GDP. Thank you for letting us know that you don't know how our economy works. What's up, Nate? Guys, Nate for 38. You just started talking in the chat. I just posted an interview last week. Do you know? Yes, I do know how the economy works. I absolutely do. Absolutely do. He is running for a state seat in Indiana. You should check out his video and watch it. Do you want to come up and talk, brother? I don't know what kind of time you got.
Hey.
What's up, buddy?
How's my audio? I'm on my phone, so I don't know if it's
it sounds fine.
Good. Just enjoying this Indiana psychopath weather. It was 80 degrees literally a week ago.
Yeah.
Then it dipped into the 20s, but we're fighting our way out, and I've got 2 events tonight. One at the Kokomo Howard County Library. I know, real niche for a global audience like you got, but we're doing listening sessions, and
nice.
They've been going really well because despite, the trolls you get in your comments, I really do believe that the average person has had enough, and they're ready for, and I think it's important too. I think you do a great job of pointing out the facts without getting too emotional, and Republicans, especially MAGA, they're just so emotional, and we've got to meet them where they are. We got to understand that they're scared, and they've been fed a pile of lies, and love always wins. So I appreciate what you're doing, and thanks for giving me some love.
Of course, man. Of course. Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing something that I wouldn't do. So I'm, if me sitting here and talking to some really cool people around the country, like you and like all the other people that I've interviewed, is the burden that I am forced to bear, I will take it. You're the one who's going to have to potentially sit in the state house and deal with some probably real frustrating people. So I appreciate you and what you're doing.
Well, thank you. And actually, I got to give you some credit, because you were one of the first interviews that just straight asked me, what is the first thing you're going to do if you get elected? And look, everybody is surprised that I am a Democrat because of my background in the golf industry, and I'm an outdoorsman. I love deer hunting, all that stuff. But just the general tone of politics, I think the average person is just completely fed up. And so that's my duty, is to create relationships.
Yeah.
We agree on way more than we don't. And we just got to keep fighting.
And that's the other thing. So just yesterday, I posted an interview with Veronica. Can't remember her last name. She's running for District 4, Broderick. Thank you. District 4 in Tennessee. And in the interview, she was talking about how she would go to these like Republican areas and talk, and they would come up to her and go, "Y- how are you? There is no way that you are a progressive. You seem so moderate."
Yeah.
Or you seem like I would have thought you were a Republican. And it made me realize that I think nowadays most people don't know what those words mean. And I feel like we're getting that problem everywhere because so many people in so many different areas are using them in so many different with so many different meanings behind it, people hear the word moderate or they hear the word progressive and they think it mean that they don't agree with anything having to do with them. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, probably 95% of the things that we are all struggling with, we all agree on. And it's just, yeah.
Well, and that's a great point. And I can't remember if we talked about this in the interview, but I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh on a regular basis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did it because I always wanted to know. After I kind of found my footing in what I believed, I kind of followed. And his whole purpose was to create these terms and to create the stereotypes that go with them, so that no matter what you say you are, someone can call you something, and immediately everyone else has the definition of what you're supposed to be.
Mm.
It was brilliant. And the manipulation of American voters. I mean, we are in significant historic times. Like, hopefully we have planet Earth in 100 years, but they're going to spend 2 weeks on this chapter for sure.
Oh, by the way, someone asked, is Valparaiso in your district?
It's not. So if you know anything about Indiana, I'll just tell you it's right in the middle. District 38. Um, it covers 6 counties. But it's right north of Indianapolis, by a couple counties, and it's right there in the middle, kind of real central. But yeah, Valparaiso is not in that district,
There you go.
unfortunately. But yeah, spread some love, and like I said, people are. You mentioned that story about the woman from Tennessee. Indiana's and Tennessee are very similar in a lot of ways. They're my actually family genealogy. We went to Tennessee and we came back to Indiana in like the late 1800s. But we have to change the way that we talk, and we got to focus on our common good, because this has been my contention all along. People get mad at me because I'll go at the most extreme conservative just to try to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
But if we start turning some key people, they will be our loudest supporters. And that's just my opinion. I don't know if I would love to hear if people agree or disagree, but if you boil it down to, we want to have success for our children, we want to have affordable and healthcare that works, and a job that doesn't make you feel like, you're living on the edge every day. That seems to be pretty
Yeah.
a low bar, right?
Yeah. I think there are a
But
couple things to that. I think that is the thing that I think the thing when it comes to healthcare that I think has the potential of pushing us over the edge and getting universal is we need to stop having healthcare tied to a job. Because right
agreed.
now people are staying in jobs, they're either miserable, they're not paid enough, but they're too worried to go find another one because they don't know. Like I've had jobs where I'm like, I am miserable right now, like physically, like almost physically ill because of how miserable a job has made me. But I've stayed with it because I don't want to just leave before I have another job. But if you're miserable at your own job, that's your own fault. That is a weird ass statement. I'm gonna be straight with you. Okay. But it's like, let's make jobs have to finally like work for the people that work for them. Like, not only would it save companies thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars if we did, because most people don't realize that when you work for a company and they pay your health and you have healthcare through them, they're usually paying like 60% of the cost. So
Mm,
what you're seeing as a lot, most companies are actually paying more than that. And that is part of your quote unquote paycheck that most people don't realize.
yep.
So I
Yeah.
think we need to
I would ra-
fix that.
I would rather have so I own a consulting company. I left the W2 world in 2025, but you have Cobra eligibility for so long. Here's a little fun fact. I didn't realize this until about 2 months ago, but um, Indiana legislators, even though it's a 3-4 month session, depending, um, you know, state officials in Indiana get full health care
Oh, wow.
for free. Yeah. But I would love to see employers, like, if they're already having to kick it in, and employers, they can't hire good people without offering benefits. Why not give that money to the employee directly and let them make their choice,
Hmm.
right? Whether it's private, marketplace, whatever. But healthcare is just such a joke. Um, and that's another unifying issue, that we all get bills from the doctor and we're like, what? you know?
I love I love when people say that I'm too young and uneducated about real life.
There's
For those of you that want to see something funny, go watch my interview with Nate. Um I'm older than Nate, by the way.
yes,
It was
I look
funny.
60, you look 35,
Yeah.
and we're actually I'm just a little bit younger than you.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I think it's funny. I'm across all the platforms, and I know we talked about you're not on Facebook,
Yeah.
but in my district, Facebook is where a majority of the people that are on social media, that's where they're going to be. Um, there is so much bot activity happening right now. Uh, People are creating, posts about, we got a Two Kings protest this weekend I was telling you about,
Hmm.
or No Kings. Um, and I've just kind of been watching, because I don't fling mud. I try not to on Facebook comments. But then you click these guys' profiles and they're trolls. But when you get troll comments, do people come onto your live at all? Like, do you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
do head to heads? Okay.
I don't do head. So here's how. So I created this live with the express purpose of having hard conversations.
Hmm.
So if people come in and they have a serious question and they're unsure about something, they're like, this is what I've always heard, or this is what I have believed in the past, I will have a conversation with them about it. But if you come in and you are straight like Democrats are straight out evil,
Yeah.
we're not interacting with something like that.
Yeah.
So in terms of, hard conversations are an integral part of what I do here. So I don't expect everyone to know everything. I was definitely considered myself more of a conservative or Republican. I mean, I never have been anything technically, but when I was first started out, I was told Christians vote Republican,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
that's what I believed growing up. And it took Trump to really push me out of it. I mean, I always struggled before, but uh it definitely took Trump to really push me out of that whole concept. And I don't expect anyone else to really I don't expect everyone else to be where I am right now. But you have to be willing to
Yeah.
listen, you have to be willing to be wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I totally agree. And I don't know if I don't do it on every video, but most videos I do. I always just say thanks for listening, because in politics, the politician's the one that's supposed to be listening. And obviously I got to make content, but just the simple respect of having a respectful conversation, it's crazy how I'm glad to see you put up that boundary, because we gotta work across the aisle. But if you're calling names, and you know it's not worth our time. We got to focus on the ones who are feeling like really
yeah.
unsure of things, and give them the good news instead of fighting guys that just want to call names.
This is the way I've always thought, and this is probably why, even though I consider myself a conservative, it was really only because of the Christian side of things, not because I really am that way. The way I think we need to work on getting back to is when we have a discussion, we still have to agree on those fundamentals. We still have to agree on what is that baseline that we all can agree on. There has to be some point of agreement. Like, one of the problems is how can we talk about healthcare for people when the person I'm talking to doesn't believe that certain people are human or have the same kind of rights that we have? Like, how can we talk about these higher level problems that we have when we can't even agree on the basics of humanity? And I think that's where we've got a lot of problems. Is there is a group of people, and some of them I think are in charge right now, that we lack that basic level of agreement on a fundamental. So for me, it's always all people, no matter your race, religion, gender, or identity, deserve rights, respect, dignity, and safety. Like, that is the line. If I'm talking with you and I feel like you are crossing that line, conversation's over, because nothing I say past that is going to actually penetrate, because my view on what humanity looks like is completely different than what yours looks like.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point. I never really even thought about taking it to just the fundamentals like that. But it is all about, finding where you are making some headway.
Sure.
I had a call the other day, and the lady answered, and I introduced myself, and I said, hey, I just wanted to see if you had any questions about, Indiana politics. And she said, well, depending on the answer to your next question, this phone call might be over. And I was like, oh, here we go. And of course I said, well, I'm running as a Democrat. And she said, well, this conversation's over. And I said, why? And she stopped. I talked to her for probably 15 minutes. Maybe not the best use of my time, because she was, she hates Muslims. She hates this. She hates that. She hates this. She hates that. And I just kept trying to turn it back into like, well, what do you care about?
Yeah.
What do you want to see?
Yeah.
Stop telling me how bad everything is, because, kindly, in Indiana, we've been a Republican majority since 1978 in the Senate. I was born in 1981. So my entire life, even though I lived other places, living in Indiana, it's been under Republican control. So why are you blaming, liberals or Democrats? But some people, they'll talk tough, but if you just push a little.
Yeah.
I try to push once, and if they don't go on that one, then it's time to end the call.
Do you think that's partially, and it's an interesting, I never just thought about it while you were talking. Do you think part of the problem is that more people don't realize or pay attention how important their state government is compared to the federal government? So when people think that things are getting bad, they only think it's the federal government doing it. They don't even consider the fact that the state government is probably more a part of the problem.
Yes, 100%. And that's exactly why I decided to run for a House seat. Number one, I could have run for a county position or whatever, but I feel like my skill set is in relationships and communication, and I wanted to bring some light to the fact that these House and Senate races, people pay attention to their county and they pay attention to Washington, D.C. What they don't understand is that the state is deciding what their county gets, and they are also deciding, they are the gatekeeper for any federal programs. So they can decide, nope, Indiana is not going to apply for this, federal program.
Yeah.
And we had, I don't know if you saw, but I'm a big Dolly Parton fan. I wish she would be president. I know I have to stay kind of middle of the road, but like, I'm ready to usher in more women leadership.
Oh yeah.
I'll give you this, and I have to run because I do. I got a work thing today, which is exciting.
There you go.
But people always say, or people have been saying, it's not left versus right, it's top versus bottom.
Mhm.
And I want to take that a different direction, and I think it's man versus woman. If you look at the policies from determining what education paths are considered professional careers to the SAVE Act to uh, you know losing their choice and having different rights from state to state. If you're a good man and you believe that women are the life givers, which I believe, we have a greater cause. And men, they are the problem. We are the problem. We
Yep.
set this system up. I've said problematic things in my past. I've had problematic opinions, but somehow I was able to just, and I think it was through my exposure, traveling, all that stuff. I got to fight for the women because
Absolutely.
they deserve it. And
Yep.
yeah, I feel it. I feel like that's where we are. It's not top versus bottom. It's man versus woman.
Totally agree. I mean, I think there's some top versus bottom in there too, but it still
Sure.
has to do with men are still the problem, even when you get into that. So
Yeah.
okay, Nate can also have a podcast.
Yeah.
No, he
Dude,
can join mine. We need more people. We don't need more
Look.
podcasts in the world. Okay.
Brother,
Yep.
preaching to the converted, because I see it a lot too. Everyone's so excited and they want to create something and they want it to be exactly the way that they are.
Yeah.
And if there's one piece of advice I could say, if you're feeling like you want to do something, just call your county Democrat Party. We are in a two-party system. You don't have to believe all the stuff the national Democrats do. But if you live in a rural area, there's probably a 70 to 80-year-old woman that has held up that Democratic party in that county, and they
Yeah.
are dying for young, motivated people. You
It's
don't
true.
have to sign up for a lot, but it will get you involved. And if we all try to create our own thing, I would much rather say, hey, every Tuesday, I'm going to get on Beyond the Meta
Yes.
versus create Nate, and then I'm fighting for this competitive culture that we've created.
Yep.
If we can shift that into collaboration,
Yep.
my God, we'll be in so much better shape.
Well, you know what, Nate? Let's talk about that because I think that would be pretty cool to do. So
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And for anybody listening, please follow and share. I've got about 3,000 followers on TikTok today, and I'll leave you with this. Fundraising is the worst part about this whole thing.
Yes.
And I would much rather find a way to get 20,000 followers that give me $10, right? Or $5.
Yeah.
Because they're asking me to raise $100,000 for this race. And one of the legislations that I'm going to move forward is getting money out of Indiana politics. We can't control Washington, but we can control Indiana.
Amen.
So,
amen.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Have a great day, man.
Thanks.
All
See
right.
ya.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
That was awesome. See, this is what we need more of. Where's the next person I interviewed? Britt, where are you? Somebody else I interviewed. Where are you? Let's bring you up. Patty, hello. Thank you. Leon, hello. Thank you. Leah, hello. Thank you. And hey, meme. And sorry I missed everyone over on the other side, but it was a good conversation. It was short, but it was a really good one for the amount of time we were talking. And hi, Mama Bear. It is time for matriarchy. Totally agree. Totally agree. No argument. I mean, I've said that a ton of times. I mean, in the end, my personal goal has always been to be able to do something that I can enjoy, to support society in a way that is helpful, and to have people be where they're best. And I think this idea that just because I have certain reproductive organs, that makes me more uh capable of doing something than somebody else is ridiculous, and it's something only a man could think of. Work life balance would make absolutely everybody happier. Hundo percent. Hundo percent. It really would. It really would. How about some accountability? Yep, some accountability too. Yep. But unfortunately, Rich, in order to get the accountability that we want, we need to put people in office that want it too. Because the kind of accountability that we need to put in place because people aren't voting is something is there needs to be regulation. There needs to be things put in place that force accountability to happen, because we have shown, unfortunately, too many times too many times that people don't do what we as voters don't do our part to hold our representatives accountable. Can I ask, when did you start going live? I just recall following you back in 2014. So my first lives on TikTok started around 2022. I have been a streamer and a content creator since 2016, I think. Right around there. 2015, 2016. I started on Twitch way back when. Yeah, Naomi, a lot of, I don't rage bait, and that is unfortunately not a lot of people's bags. People like to have debates, and I'm not a debate bro. Hey, Kelsey. Help us with what? I didn't mean to go quiet. It's just hard for me to get my thoughts together. Some thoughts sometimes from the brain to the fingertips. You're good. You're good, Summer. How are you doing, Kelsey? Guys, if you wouldn't mind continuing to do this right here and share and join the fan club, all that stuff that helps push it out to other people, I would appreciate it. Because in the end, we need to grow this. All right, community people can come up. Hello.
Good. I got lots to say.
Uh-oh.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just because I know sometimes the conversations get going and the things actually I want to talk about are kind of what have just been going through the comments recently. First thing when the conversation was going on, talking about it, pertaining to YT men and such. I actually got to see real time yesterday. I got to watch a YT man have the realization that, kind of like you've had before, but it's like, I know you, so it's different. But like, I got to watch this person have this moment when he realized that he put his foot in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation was about the Crockett Tallarico situation. And somebody in chat, a black gentleman in chat, had put in there, that black folks, were a little upset about it. And it made the host, like, I think it kind of ticked him off, honestly. And he pulled him up, and he's up there, and dude is like talking and stuff. And I'm watching the chat, and I'm listening to this host. And I have to say, I felt the biggest moment of disappointment, because they were on that whole, you have to vote for Tallarico, you have to vote blue no matter who, you're just as bad as MAGA. And he's up there trying to explain. He's like, I don't live in Texas. He's like, but my daughter lives in Texas, my son lives in Texas. And he was saying how, I guess she's a content creator as well,
Mm-hmm.
about politics. And he was saying how she was just saying how disappointed she was. And
Mm-hmm.
but like, he ended up having two black women come up, and they were like, the whole situation came up with, do you understand basically how dismissive it is to tell black people consistently, who 90% of the time, especially black women, always show up, that you have the audacity, and what it means to say that when your people don't even show up in that kind of level to vote for the rights and the betterment of everybody. I mean, hello, look at 52% of who voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and like, when the other woman, the second guest, like, explained like how far it goes back, the fact that literally from almost every time that we vote, it was hang on, you gotta go out of here. Uh but it was just, he caught it in a minute. He's like, you know what? He apologized to the gentleman, and he was like, sometimes even me, I sit here in my whiteness, but you saw the awareness. And he's like, and I realized something today. And he's like, he ended the live after that. But I was like watching the chat. I think what the part that just, I was like, thank you so much for, acknowledging what you did, and that you were wrong in the moment, and that you corrected yourself and you learned in that moment. That's what we need. We need people to do, if we're going to do the wrong thing, when they get called out for doing the wrong thing, to fix it and admit it. That's how we get forward, and
Mm-hmm.
to understand that's how we heal. That's how you get people to keep voting. And it's, it was it was uh it was pretty cool, though. I was very happy.
What is crazy?
You
What
can
is
go.
crazy about anything that is being said?
Yeah, it wasn't crazy. I mean, I have to say, like, I like the fact that he corrected himself, though. Like, you saw it.
Yeah.
You saw him process it, and it was like, because sometimes I think people don't understand that by just telling people to get over it, that you're not doing the right thing. That's not ever the right way to go. Yeah, I definitely wasn't misrepresenting it. That live is on YouTube, so people can actively go back and watch it, like the last 10-15 minutes of the live, and see it happen. I was just like, that's how we keep moving forward. We have to be open, willing to have people who live experiences and experience life in this place differently than other people, and get to hear how all these things affect them. Like, I've been listening to people from Iran that have either immigrated here themselves, or like first generation immigrants, and how they feel about what's going on. You hear, I listen to people who are from like Latin America, and having the conversation about, the not understanding of the difference between Hispanics and Latinos, and what that means, what those words mean, and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conversations that are happening that have a lot to do with politics, but don't have to do necessarily with the orange. It's just being able to be open, and able to have those conversations. And I love that we do that here.
Um, and I want to say, and again, I can't speak for this person who's now obviously can't talk. But the reason that I'm bringing up what she said is it also made me realize something, which is a problem. We need to understand that two people, potentially two even well-intentioned people who are from different backgrounds, had different experiences, different races, different genders, whatever it is, can literally sit in the exact same conversation and see it completely differently. And that is the reality that we need to understand. So I doubt you are still here, Nene, but you coming in as a YT woman, based on what I looked at your thing, saying that something didn't happen that a black woman was in there and saw happen is part of the problem. Is the problem that we're dealing with. Me, as a person who looks exactly like I do, obviously I'm going to see a situation differently. That's just a reality of it. It's not good or bad, it just is. The problem is when I think that because I see it a certain way, that anyone else's perspectives on it is wrong or whatever, depending on what we're talking about, obviously. But in most cases, your perspective is your perspective. I don't have like, your perspective may be misinformed because of for X, Y, and Z reason, and we could have that conversation. But to say that someone is misrepresenting an experience that they had while they were sitting there, like I saw her responses, she's like, there was no yelling. Dude, that is the dumbest comeback to a situation where the situation, like, and that's the funny thing. He was saying it was a good thing happened. And somehow all you could focus on was that you didn't think they were yelling. Like, come on, people. This is where conversation is crashing and burning. Is if that's the part that pissed you off about everything that was said, then you definitely were either not in the same live or are just, I don't know what. You probably are saying the same thing that this guy is saying, and people are getting angry that this guy was saying, and people are getting angry at you and you don't understand why. That's my guess. But
Did I say there
Ash,
was yelling? Because they weren't
I don't
yelling.
remember you saying.
They weren't, and that's the thing. They weren't even yelling. You could tell. I mean, when you're the person hosting the live, like you, even though Suge and I are up here, who takes up most of the camera? You do. You can see, especially if you watch somebody long enough, you can see. You could tell he did get irritated because he was like, I'm gonna bring him up. You could tell it in his tone.
Yeah.
Everything about it, how he first engaged in the conversation was all wrong. I'm sitting there like, oh nah, man, you're not doing the right thing. And while I understand, like that the woman said it beautifully, like we understand we need to win the Senate. You still cannot be dismissive. And what have Black women always done? They always show up. And it's really, I think it's kind of, I don't even know the right adjective or verbiage to use, but I think it's kind of shitty when even a majority of, and especially it was a whole lot of white women in the comments that were sitting there saying a bunch of negative shit.
Yep.
And we're just like attacking basically this man in the comments. And it's just frustrating because I'm like, you don't even vote at a majority for the betterment of everybody. So who are you? The caucasity of it all, the fucking Americanacity of it all. Like I said, it's just crazy.
Yep. It's the unfortunate reality that we've lost. And again, are there reasons? Sure, there are reasons. That people are scared. But being scared is not a valid enough reason to respond in the way that a lot of people that have the skin color that I have, to people that are validly upset. And that's the part that I need all of you that are afraid to hear. It's not that your fear is not valid. It's not that your being scared isn't an excuse. I mean, it is what it is. They are scared, and sometimes people can't control. But we got to learn how to communicate and listen even when we are afraid. That's the problem. Um Again, being afraid is just is what it is. I mean, black women are afraid. There's a lot of people that are afraid. How we respond is is really the key to all of this. It's not, are we afraid? We all are. Everyone who has a brain should be afraid right now. If you aren't afraid, you aren't alive. There's something dead inside if you aren't afraid right now. But we can't let that fear prevent us from listening to each other and hearing the valid and real perspectives and experiences. The problem comes is when I take my fear of, let's say obviously I don't believe this. I've made videos on it, but let's say I take my fear of Tallarico losing. Like, I can't let my fear of Tallarico losing override the need to hear and understand to the best way I can, and validate the problems, the anger of those that voted for Crockett. That is part of this process of growing and moving our society to something different. What's funny, Al? I fear, or AI, or whatever your name is, I fear what you think is funny. But I mean, Rosa, I would argue it again. These are two separate things. You can support Tallarico and listen and validate the anger at the exact same time. Like, no one's sitting here saying we need to be bashing on Tallarico, but there are angry people and their anger is valid, and that conversation needs to happen. I mean, I've said this before, Rich. As a person, as a male with the skin color that I have, I will never be able to fully understand how different people with different skin colors and different genders experience the world. It's impossible, but I can believe them.
Yeah, I think, and that's the thing. It's about the people's reactions to stuff, and you can empathize. And like what Mike is saying is, he can empathize, but he can't truly understand. Like, unless you're a part of these things, it's like, just like, I've seen it. We've seen it a lot. We've seen it a lot in this space. And the main thing is just making sure that's just like, it's just like making sure that we're not being dismissive of our brothers and sisters and theys and thems and the trans community and the attack that's happening on them and everybody. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, don't be dismissive. Like, yes, we understand. We know the assignment. We always follow the assignment. And that's the whole thing about it, is just being careful that you don't get so sucked up in this shit that you're doing what the other side does and completely dismisses everybody else. Just be careful with that. And definitely facts are different than feelings.
Mhm.
And that's why when we're having conversations about feelings, that's why data and stats don't usually fit into that conversation very well. Depending on what you're talking about, for sure.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Both are I mean, we are living in an imperfect system. I've said the one thing, if I'm going to give credit to this administration, they have showed they have put a spotlight on every hole in our constitution and in our system. 100%. That is the only thing that I will give this administration, is they have shown the areas of our constitution and our system that have giant holes that need to get fixed. Feelings are valid, but that doesn't mean they are facts. That is true. Depending on what you're talking about, it doesn't matter.
And I don't think anybody said it did, and that's the whole thing. When you're discussing how Black folks feel about something, especially as YT folks, y'all trying to tell them what to do, that's not how you save that conversation. But again, to say that, like, the whole conversation started just because I love when I see people actively doing the work. It is not always easy, and it can be uncomfortable to sit there and realize, like, damn, I need it. And I appreciated the fact that you got to see it just happen in real time. Just like when it happens here, I appreciate seeing that people, because sometimes I realize in conversations that I've had recently with folks that you think that because we all vote the same, that there's a lot of stuff that people have, feelings and thoughts on, and they don't understand or don't realize that it could be harmful, whether or not they're doing it on purpose.
And Mama Bear, that fear is valid fear. But what a lot of people are trying to say is there is real valid anger, and we are literally months away from the election. Let people be angry, have those conversations, go work through that problem. If I've said this before, if people that voted for Jasmine, if not getting them quote unquote fully on board within the month of this happening is the breaking point for Tallarico winning or losing, then he wasn't going to win in the first place. That's just a reality. The thing that is going to make people not want to be involved is being told that their anger at a situation isn't valid and they need to ignore it. That's the thing that's going to push people to not vote. But it's not just him, but he does, and he said that he does. It's not him, it's us. It's the ones that have 90% of the interactions with these people that are upset. That's going to prevent people from voting. Yes, he can make things worse. But this, like, most of the people that are sitting here, most of the people that are really angry after expressing their anger are not because Tallarico has done something or not done something that he should have or shouldn't have. It's because the people that they have talked about being angry about it have been like, you just need to get over it and vote. Like, that's the kind of thing. Like Tallarico, again, I can't, whether or not he is 100% honest, he has said straight up that I need to earn the votes of the people that voted for Jasmine Crockett. He said it. Whether or not he fully believes it or he's saying what he needs to, the world may never know. But it's not going to mean anything if we don't. You need to interview. Yeah, well, we've been trying. We tried to get both Jasmine and Tallarico.
And that's what the lady that finished out the end of that conversation, she was saying. She was like, you know, he needs to definitely come out and speak to that community and listen to those feelings. And that's the thing. And Mike, you hit it spot on. Like I promise you, like I said, the fact that because it goes beyond just this one election, and that's the issue, right? It's that if you're sitting here, people, and you're just blatantly, whether, and that's the thing, you call yourself quote unquote on our side, that's why they say that you don't get to dictate whether or not you're an ally. Somebody else in that community does, and it's by your actions. And when you're in a chat hollering, and well, not hollering, but you're in a chat making comments to someone, telling them that they need to do something such and such, especially as a YT person, this is a Black person just sharing their experience, and you know what their daughter is experiencing living in Texas and how she was feeling about everything about it. Like that's not an ally, and that's not how an ally is supposed to behave. Like that's not how that's supposed to work. And you're exactly right. Allow people to have time to process their feelings, because it is a big damn thing. And like that lady said, and it made me I don't know if making me feel good is the right word to say it, but to hear somebody else say some of the same things that I've said, it really truly makes me feel like I'm not just up here running my mouth, that I do know what I'm talking about sometimes. And to hear somebody else that I don't know, I've never met, say the exact same thing, makes me realize that I'm not absolutely crazy, and that I do understand what's going on. She was saying the same thing. Allow people to be upset because you don't get it. We always, of what block, there's never been a block more consistent when it comes to voting for the Democrats, for the good of everybody other than Black women, period, point blank, end of story. Now that's something you can back up with facts and numbers and data. And it's like for the people, for the folks who cannot and do not consistently vote for the good of everybody else, to have the caucasity to sit there and tell other people to do it. If you can't look at yourself and realize why that's problematic, you still have some deconstructing to do, a whole lot of it.
I mean, I made a video yesterday, and then I obviously want to let the other people in here talk. I made a video yesterday from, because I do this thing where I go out and I walk or exercise, and I sit down. There's a bench on my walk. I sit down and I talk about what I was thinking about. And we've got this problem right now where we've got one group of people that are super focused on the future. No, Democrats do not keep voting no to fund TSA. Grow up. One group of people on the left that focus solely like on way in the future. No, they don't. And then we've got one group of people that are solely focused on the now. And obviously there's gray in between. I'm saying this in a very more generality, but the reality is we need to be thinking about both things when we're voting. We need to be thinking about the future and the now. I think the times where we think about both of those need to happen at different times, but we need, there's this, we get so focused on one aspect of it that we forget the rest. So you got people that are would consider themselves probably more center left, that are very focused on the now, and in the primaries only focus on voting for who they think that can win in the general. And then you got people on the far left that say, unless that in the general will choose not to vote or vote third party because they didn't get the person that they wanted in the primary, and they didn't vote, or they didn't do anything but bash other people that were afraid of what's going on. And there's just a whole bunch of, it's this going on. And you've got some people we're just doing this. We just keep doing this. And And it's very frustrating. And hey, Shug. Hey, Tiffany.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
But again, Cameron, I hear what you're saying. And we need to stop with that person. We need to stop doing this. What you are doing. The Bernie people did that. Yes, there were a lot of people that were very upset by the way things were handled with Bernie, that were just told after what happened, you need to suck it up and vote for Hillary. I understand that. I know it is. And I think sometimes, and I do it too, this is why I'm saying it, it's really easy to say things that feel not a problem. And Kamala too, sure. Were there people that were upset about the way the primary ended up happening? Sure there were. I would argue that's a little different. We didn't have quite as much time, but sure, there were people that were upset, and that's fine. And they have a right to be upset.
Nobody chose to run against her, though. They put the option out there, and no one chose to run against her, so that is different.
It is different. It's always different. Every situation is going to be different. I think in the end, I think the problem that everyone had, which I had too, again, this goes back to the, can we really have a conversation? What the real problem was not Kamala getting the nomination. It was Biden running in the first place. Especially when he said, I'm only going to be in there for one term. Like when he ran the first time, he said, I am going to be a one-term president. And the fact that anybody supported it when he decided to run again was really what did it, was really the problem. So I remember a lot of us were looking forward to an open primary to see who was going to run. And he destroyed that. There was a primary. And then right near the end, the person who'd basically won dropped out. And that just changes the way things go at that point. We need to again, this is one of those, this is the way it is. We can be angry about it or we can accept the reality. It's got, guys, it's just all messed up. It's all messed up. There's a lot that we need to fix. And valid, you should be pissed off at the Texas Democratic Party. I'm pissed off at the Democratic Party every other day. Hey, Biker. Because they're doing some shitty stuff across the country for people that are not the quote unquote picks of the Democratic Party. They're doing that all over. But again, this goes back to another statement. If we want a chance at getting rid of the two-party system, if we want a chance at getting rid of making it so these two parties don't have as much power as they've got, we need to get people into office in both state and federal that are willing to make that change. That is straight up how it has to be. And anytime we sit here and we focus on, you know, what we would like it to be, you know, again, you can sit here and say, I would love a third party. I would love a third party. I'd love a fourth party. I'd love 6 parties. I would love to have it set up where you need to make a coalition government like other countries do, to be honest. Because in the end, we all are a coalition. The 4 of us here, I'm sure, view some things very differently. We just have the same fundamentals. We can't do that right now. We can't until we put people in office that are willing to. Both federal and state, because it's going to take a constitutional amendment, which means you're going to need not only it to pass 2/3 majority in the House, but you're going to need 3/4 of states to pass with a 2/3 majority. I think. I forget if it's 2/3 or a simple. Either way, 3/4 of the states are going to have to ratify it. That's just a reality of it. Which is one of the reasons I mentioned when Nate was up here. I was like, we need to also focus on states more and not, yes, it's easy, especially in this day and age, to focus on, to pay attention to just, nope, burning the entire system will not start over anything. That is no. No. You think we're going to actually, the United States of America will not exist if you burn down the entire system. I'm sorry, that is a short-sighted statement. We can rebuild the system through the system that we've got if we want to keep the United States of America. But burning down the system will create
anarchy.
Yeah, will create anarchy. No more insider trading. There's a lot of good starts. Getting money out of politics would be a great start. Yeah. What happens to inequality when the people in charge right now are the ones that stay in charge during anarchy? And the lobbyist system? Yep. But again, we have to get people through the primaries and then vote them into office to make that happen. It's still about us having to do the work. There is no situation, none, on this entire planet, in this entire country, in this society, where a majority of people are not going to have to do work in order to get the future we want. Whether that's being involved, being informed, and getting out and voting. All 3 of those have got to happen by a vast majority of this country. First of all, the government has to remember they work for us. And I hear what you're saying, Biker. I hear what you're saying. And while, yes, that is true, that only works if people actually get out and vote. If there's one thing that everyone should know by now, is that all politicians will only do what they think is in their best interest to keep getting elected. There was an interview with Tom Tillis, and one of the things he said was, He feels free now that he's not running because every vote he takes, every statement he makes is not filtered through the cost benefit analysis of how much extra money he might have to raise or how many more votes he might have to try and get from the state. That is what politics has turned into, because they know that you can spend more money to get more votes. If we want to fix that, we need to fix that first, because until we as a voter show them that it doesn't matter how much money you spend, we're going to be paying attention to everyone who's running, then that's what they're going to keep doing. That's just a reality. When 95, when you as an incumbent have a 95% chance of being reelected, when we as a society do not know who our state and local representatives are at all, you want to know what happens? People vote for the people at the top of the ticket. And do you know how most places do it? They put the incumbent at the top of the ticket. Or they put the word incumbent on it. And they just vote for the incumbent because they have no clue. You're going to be on for a while? I'm going to be on for about 30 more minutes. Once Citizens United became thing. Oh, it definitely got drastically worse after Citizens United. Yes. It got drastically worse after Citizens United. I want ranked choice so bad. Me too. But here's the thing. States can do ranked choice. That has nothing to do with the federal government. Yeah, would it be great if the federal government did it too? Sure. But that doesn't require the federal government. Respectfully, you are speaking in an echo chamber without much regard for anything else. Respectfully, you are wrong. Trust me, if you think I'm in an echo chamber, you don't know, you haven't been here very long.
That part. And Mama Bear, which part do you not know what it is? The Citizens United? Is that what you're asking about?
Citizens United is a Supreme Court decision. I forget how long ago it happened. Basically, it made it possible for businesses to be considered people, which means businesses could donate to people's campaigns. That's the short version of it.
Sugar, you there? The reason I keep talking is because no one's talking. Every time I sit here and I wait and I'm doing dishes and cleaning up in the kitchen, and I'm like, well, nobody's talking. Can we talk about Manosphere?
Yes. Sorry, wait. I was running a payroll for a client. So I was trying to concentrate while listening.
Sugar, can you see inside the Manosphere?
Getting my boy some food.
So Kia wants to talk about the Inside the Manosphere documentary? Is that what I understood that she said?
What is that? What is the Manosphere?
Oh.
So.
Oh dear.
So red pill creators, the idea of the red pill.
Okay, now that's a term I've heard a lot, but I don't know what it means. I mean, I can kind of infer, but
yeah,
what is it? What does that mean exactly?
It's that alpha, super masculinity, bullshit,
Chad kind of stuff.
Yeah. Basically, Luis Theroux. He's a documentarian. basically interviewed 4 different people that are considered these red pill alpha bro creators. And that was it, basically, to kind of get an idea of their perspectives on everything. And it was wild, and it was horrible, and it was enlightening, and yeah.
I believe it.
You know what? I came actually to a conclusion after watching it a second time. These are all men. This is what daddy issues can look like in men, because these are all men who did not have active fathers in their lives. And this is
or at least active father figures.
Yes, active father figures, parental male figure. Because like I remember growing up when I was a teen and stuff, and it was a huge deal in the 90s and 2000s talking about all the daughters who were who didn't have father figures, and what the outcomes and, you know, behaviors that would happen to young girls if they didn't have father figures. I don't remember them really focusing on men, and now I watch that and I'm like, well, there you go. It's what happens when you just focused on one group of people, because then you just have a bunch of really terrified, scared little boys who created a whole entire group of people to worship them, because the people who they wanted to really love them and be there for them never showed up. And that is the manosphere.
Ryan, we're not talking about race right now, so I'm not sure why you're even bringing that up. What's your Netflix, Lucy? It's on Netflix.
I will say this, like, at first I didn't know if I was going to watch it, but then like seeing Mike's reaction to it, and I have to say, if you are the mother of a son or the grandmother of a son, or you have some kind of close relationship with a young fella in your life, like, I've never heard of any of these creators that he interviewed. And I think that's part of the problem. If the parents don't have any idea that these folks exist, how are they going to have any idea to be even looking out for the harmful, kind of disgusting things that they were saying, how they were treating people? All I kept sitting there thinking was, oh my God, if that was my son, oh, it's a lot to watch, but like, I implore you, if you have sons, whether they're grown, whether they're young, especially if they're young, please watch this.
No, you didn't annoy me. I'm letting you know Rosa's comment about misogyny had to do with what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
So I know you were having a separate discussion, but she changed the topics that she was talking about. So.
And you know what? I was aware of 3 out of the 4 of them. I wasn't aware of, I think it's Sneeko or Sleezo. I don't remember that guy's name. I think it was Sneeko. I call him Sleezo because that's how he behaves. I was aware of the other 3, very much so, and I think, and have been for quite some time. My husband, funny enough, had never seen or heard of any of these, and he was like, this is what young men. I'm like, yep. I'm like, in case you wondered why I sit here and have discussions or arguments even about misogyny and how life is experienced differently as a woman, this is why. And I'm like, it breaks my heart to know that I feel like we haven't actually moved the needle at all. Like, I thought when I was growing up, we had started moving the needle for women, that we're starting to see some semblance of at least equity, if not equality, and some semblance of respect. And I think watching that, I realized we haven't moved the needle at all. And then combine that with the people in the e-files who basically ran all of the clothing and the scents and the makeup and everything that I grew up on. I'm just like, I feel personally as an elder millennial, I'm just looking at the world and I'm like, everything I was ever taught about being a woman and what I could have or be, I feel like it was a lie. The whole thing was a lie.
So
All of it, the whole thing.
So I think the needle moved, and here's why I say it. And again, do I think that there is an attempt to pull back the needle? Yes, I absolutely see that. So I think the needle moved, and one of the reasons I think it moved, and we know it moved, is because of how hard people that didn't want the needle to move are trying to pull the needle back. I think it's the fact that the needle moved that we're seeing as big of a push to go against that as there was. I think the people that are the loudest, the ones that have been able to push themselves to get in charge and to make all of these changes that are to the detriment, are those kind of people. That is why they've been pushing to get into office. That is why they have been doing it, is because they see the needle moving. That being said, I think one of the reasons that you're seeing, I think I said it before, but I think one of the biggest reasons we're seeing the problems that are blatantly obvious when you watch the Manosphere is society has changed. Women have changed and adjusted to society as it has changed, and men in general, at least these men especially, and these kind of men, have not. They have not attempted to change the way they think, change the way they act to the changes that were going on in society. They have just complained about the changes and what those changes mean to them. So instead of learning and growing from it, they have regressed to some extent as well, or at least gone to what they think is easy, what they see as an easy response. People won't change unless it affects them personally. I mean, yes and no. People won't change unless they're willing to change. They can affect them, but I mean, look at what's going on right now. There's a lot of people that are being affected personally that aren't changing still because they aren't willing to change. So it takes a little of both. Yes, so oftentimes with a lot of people, something has to snap them out of whatever they're doing, but there still has to be a willingness to change.
I'm actually I'm actually going to thread the needle a little bit between the both of you. I agree with you, Tiffany, in the way of, well, let me start here. So I think that where we have landed ultimately is that we have the opportunity for the needle to change. But I agree with you, Tiffany. I don't think it has moved. If you look at, okay, so if you look at what Trump has done since he became president, what he's done is he's taken the mask off on America and a little bit on the world scene. So all of those, like you said, all of those things that we thought we were moving past and forward from and progressing from, he's showing you in real time that it is alive and well, clearly. And so, but Mike, you're right. We're not exactly where we were, but we have the opportunity for it to change. And this is where, yes, for all of you who love to say, man, you guys are talking about race. Well, now you can say it because I'm going to talk about it now. This has been the trajectory of Black people in the history of this country, where, okay, yeah, are there colored signs and all of that stuff? No. But is there still racism and discrimination going on? Very much so. But do we have the opportunity to get things better than what they were and continue to push forward to start combating that so it doesn't keep happening on this level? Yeah. But is the needle moved in terms of where the base, what I would say, like where the base of that stuff came from? No. It's still alive and well. If the needle had moved that, we wouldn't still have to be talking about it. It's just a mask off. But our ability to move the needle is very much within reach and possible. I mean, y'all have seen different things of, with Trump's district, home district, or whatever being flipped. All that, the opportunity is there for sure. But that stuff is very much still alive and well. That's why we're sadly having these conversations and this fight. So that's where I land with it. And I appreciate you. I see what you're saying. I should be a public speaker or a pastor. Well, I am a voiceover artist, so whether that moves into something further, we'll see. But that's where I think that the current state of
He also
things
cheats at
are.
TFT, but we don't need to talk about that right now.
Wow.
What?
Wow.
How do you cheat at that? I don't even know what it
Wow.
is.
It's Riot's auto chess
It's a
game,
game
and
that
Mike
we play together.
effectively. Listen, Tiffany. Here's the deal. Mike has effectively said that he tends to speed run to last place while I do better than him, and occasionally he will do better than me. Occasionally, and he's saying, but if you were to look at our ranks, I'm in diamond and he is an emerald. So those are brackets in which you rank up, and he's he just needs to get better. He needs to get good and do better, and that would solve a lot of his issues that he's having in TFT.
It might solve a lot of my issues in life. You never know.
Probably.
I'm just gonna say I think that probably is legit.
To be fair, I like diamonds more than emeralds anyways, so.
I'm a ruby kind of girl, so I don't even know what rank that is. It's probably not even on there.
Why would we even have a ruby rank? That just sounds like something that the Democrats made up.
It's very woke. Super woke.
It's very DEI of you. We got to get rid of it.
Oh God. But yeah, I see what you're saying, Mike, in that we're seeing a lot of men who are unwilling to change, try and draw everything back. And yes, I agree, Shug. They're all interconnected. All of the discrimination, no matter what flavor and color it comes in, all of the people who've been discriminated against and for whatever the reason, we're just seeing all of it just show up again. And I think I wasn't prepared. Nobody prepared me that I'd have to be fighting a fight again, all over again. And I thought we already won. I already thought we did this. We did do this. Multiple times have we done this. So I'm like, I think I'm just getting tired. And then it doesn't help having both a son and a daughter who are young teens now and looking at this. And I'm like, I am giving my daughter a worse world to grow up in. And also giving my son a worse world to grow up in. And I feel at this point, I failed them in some way because I didn't change anything.
Rich, what opened my eyes to how much worse it was than I thought it was Trump 1.0. Was that he got elected, was seeing people that I trusted and respected say some really crazy things in support of that man. That was what snapped me out. And I can't charge it. Oh no.
Yeah, it's down to like 2%, so my box is gonna disappear here in a second.
Well, if you have anything else you want to say, get it out now.
Go, Kia, go. Kia was right.
But sorry, baby.
He was right.
But everything that I'm right.
Sound
of
keeps
course,
going out.
I'm always right. But what Papa said is absolutely true, and that's the thing. And I think the thing, like, why I'm pushing people, like, because as a mom from a 19 to 26-year-old, like, you definitely want to make sure, is this the stuff that your kids are watching when they're not around you? You know what I mean? Because you can sit there and say, well, parents need to pay attention to their kids, but at what point does it not become the parents' job to be paying attention to what their kids are watching on YouTube? I think I think just blaming the moms, I think it's a whole societal thing. I don't think you can just blame the parents. I think definitely starts at home, but I think it's a society thing overall for sure.
Oh, it's definitely, and that's the one thing you realize when you're watching that video is they don't even believe most of their bullshit. Like at least half of their bullshit, the stuff that they support, the stuff that they say online, they actually don't believe. Now, some of it they do. Don't get me wrong. Some of the really bad stuff that they believe they do. But some of it they actually are against. Like the one guy who's like, I'm totally against the idea of OF. I'm totally against the idea of anyone that I know that in my family, if I ever have a daughter, I don't ever want them to be a part of something like that. And yet this person owns a talent agency for people to find people to help them gain and grow their OF accounts. So that kind of stuff is why I'm saying this is one of the reasons, again, why I do what I do here, which is why I don't rage bait, which is why I don't do any of this stuff. Because in the grand scheme of things, we need to help change the internet. The internet is part of the problem. We have shown people that in order to survive, they have to say the craziest things that you possibly can say. That's how you get viewers. Trust me, it is the thing that I struggle with the most, is this idea that I have to say something batshit crazy in order to get more than 300 to 500 people to see anything I make, or to get more than 100 people to watch what I'm doing. I have 115,000 people that follow me, and I'm lucky if I can get 500 views or 100 people on a live. And yet someone is willing to go on a debate space and say some crazy ass stuff. They'll get 5, 10, 20,000 people on a live, and they'll get, millions of views on a video. And that's the problem, is we as a society, right or wrong, end up leaning to and watching and supporting them, whether we even realize it or not, because of how the algorithm works. There's a reason that and again, it's nothing against them. To an extent, I appreciate what they're doing, but any of the debate bro stuff, if their stuff comes up on my feed, like the second I see the face, I move on. Because I don't agree with that kind of content. That is not the kind of content that I want to give views. That's why I keep trying to get people, like, again, the videos that I'm posting on the tube daily, by the way, for anyone who's there on TikTok, I am posting interviews daily with people that are trying to fix these problems. I have 2,000, almost 2,000 people that are subscribed over there. And I'm lucky if I can get, like, it's a good video if I get 100 views. I know you did, Linda, and I appreciate all of you that do watch it. But when I see like 100 views and the average view time is 2 minutes, and I see 2,000 people, I'm like, I know this isn't exciting stuff, but this is where it comes back to, what work are you guys willing to do? And I say this with all the understanding in my heart, that it is not always interesting and exciting stuff. But this is what we need to do if we want to win. If my videos got an 80 to 90% view percentage and like 1,000 views just from people that followed me, do you know how far the tube would push that? It would be crazy how far they would push that. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And again, I feel like I'm coming back in here and just trying to like force you guys to watch my stuff and guilt you guys. I don't want to guilt you guys to watch it. I'm asking you to watch it because I think this is important, that this is necessary.
Mike, it's something maybe that you need to consider is there's a gentleman that I watch. He's not like a he's not as political. He deals with a lot of political topics and stuff. But his name, I think I told you about him before, but his name is Reese Waters. I know he does premieres for all of his videos. Maybe that's something that we can consider, that you can consider to do it. Like, let's just watch it together. You know what I mean? Because
Does
I
he
don't know.
post
Because
every day?
I think he does every day, either every or every other.
Okay.
Yeah, and but
The
I think go ahead, go ahead.
I'll just say the problem, like you look at a lot of people that there aren't many people that post long form the amount that I do. And there's a
Okay,
reason, especially on the political stage, because it's a lot. And people
sure.
get like, again, I know it's not exciting content.
hmm
So I don't know. I think of one of those complainers who will do something. And again, I understand the complaint. Sometimes we all need to complain. That is necessary too. It we need to get it out. We need to do more. And these people are all people that are good people that want to make the changes that we say we want.
Yeah, and actually, and I'm thinking of something now too, because I know you were saying that like a lot of people don't even know who whoever is. Maybe we can do something along the lines of like, hey, let's find out who your person is for your district or whatever today, and let's look it up together. Because, and only reason I'm saying that is because it's not like it's not like, no, it's not that I want, that we're trying to do the work for everyone, but I just think that if we continue on the same track of right now, then I think we're going to keep the same trajectory. So I think those are a few ways that we can, like I said, you can keep this your main thing, right? Like this can always be your main squeeze as far as having these good conversations, because like you said, that's where the work does happen and takes place.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I just think that there are ways that I just think that some of these things that we can do will help, will help have that attention, and help grow this thing to where people can start to understand the why. Because I think in a lot of situations, most folks, they hear what you're saying, but unless they know like, okay, this is the what of it all, then they don't understand like, okay, I hear what he's saying, I agree, but where do I go from here? And so maybe a part you can be a big face on that, because I know for me, for example, I know I wasn't politically charged in the slightest until I started watching you and Kia.
Yeah.
And it's not that I didn't care who was in office. I did care. I cared about everyone who was in there, and I hope that they were doing the best that they can, like they say they were going to do for the country. But like I said, until really listening to you and her, did I know how deep, for lack of a better word, a lot of it was? No, I didn't. And I was going to stay focused to not be in that arena and continue to treat people right, because that's what I cared about. And
Mhm.
that's what mattered to me the most. But knowing, and I still, and I'm not gonna lie, I still stand by like, hey, I don't think everybody should just be running out there willy nilly. But
Sure.
I know for me personally, it is because I know I have the capacity to think for myself and make sure that I'm doing my best to be as thorough as possible. It's wrong for me to sit idly by and not put my say on who I think is going to do the best job.
And Rosa, so I always post shorts and I post long forms every day because I have to, because we got people's primaries coming up. And if I don't post their videos before their primaries and they don't win their primaries, like that's one of the reasons they wanted to be interviewed, was to help get their name out for primaries. So, but I'm always posting short and long form every single day. Both. I'm always posting. I'm always posting long form and short on YouTube and on Instagram and on TikTok and sometimes on Threads. Like, I don't know how much more I could post even if I wanted to. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, in the end, I'm hoping that, well, I'm always trying different things. And I think as we get closer, it will be. The problem is the way we do primaries sometimes makes it really hard to help people with primaries, because some people's primaries are really short. Like from the moment that they can the last sign up to that moment, it can be difficult. And again, I just don't get a lot of people to watch, which can also be hard. It's just I'm just going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, is because that's all that I can do. And, you know, it's not like nothing's happening. I just wish I could do more. Like I see these other podcasts on the left that they don't, they only interview the big names. And again, I can understand why they do it, but that's not going to help fix the problem. I will tell everyone to collect their points and stuff. Yes. And again, I understand it's a job, but also, do we want change or do we want the same old, same old? I created this podcast, and what I want to grow this podcast into is not it's not one that is makes me rich. I want to be able to pay my bills, and I want to help this country turn into something that my daughter can grow and thrive in. And if I ever have grandkids, them, or just my neighbor's kids, or my, just any kid can grow into something amazing. So this is this is just one of those things where this is going to take work. This is all going to take work, and it's going to take a lot of work. So any help would be appreciated.
Absolutely, Mike. Hey man, brother, let's definitely set some time to talk on this weekend, man, and let's flesh some things out, buddy. I think we have a good path and a good trajectory to help get you growing. I just think we just got to change a little bit of some structure stuff, and I think we can start to see that ball roll. To be honest with you, man. And that said, listen up, folks. I'm not going to be able to do it like Scott because I'm pretty sure he got that thing down to a T. But listen, and speaking of support, let's go ahead and get all the tariff-free things that we can get for this young man right here on TikTok and over on the tube. Tapping that like helps tremendously, more than you know. Just a simple repost helps more than you know, because honestly, sadly, it's all about that algorithm. So the more we can do in that and all the free things, and it's just a little bit of finger energy, chat. So just get on there, tap that heart, collect that daily heart me if you haven't already. Send a comment if you haven't already. Tap the live, share it, tell a friend, tell somebody, tell your grandma, tell your dog, tell them all. Spread the word, friends, because that's how we grow, that's how we get things done and change it for the better. So listen, I'm gonna leave you all with this. Life is about 70% unawesome or uninteresting, but that 30% is worth it. Sitting here having these conversations, they are hard. They are tough sometimes. It's not going to be all of that exciting. However, those times where we can have that good news, like flipping seats and being able to see awesome people run that want to make a positive change in this country, makes it all worth it. And this goes back to what Tiffany was saying, where she's like, man, I haven't done anything. You are doing things. You're being on the right side of history. Guess what? We have a saying in the military, the first guy through the brick wall is the bloodiest. He might not be the one that's remembered. They're gonna honor the company commander and all of that stuff. But being on the right side of history is definitely changing the landscape, because that's the work that it takes to make this thing better. So Tiffany, keep up the great work that you're doing. Mike, keep up the great work you're doing. And chat, y'all keep doing the great work that you are doing, showing up each and every single time. We appreciate you and we love you. With that, I'm out. Turn it over to you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. And just so everyone knows, if you could please go over and follow over on the tube, and again, watch videos, especially of these amazing people that just need FaceTime. If you were here when Nate from 38 from Indiana was up here, he's one of the people that I interviewed. He's a cool dude, and every little bit of support, even if it's just watching and sharing the videos, really does help. The other thing to know is over on the tube, I go live 30 minutes earlier. So I go live over there at 9:30. Don't go live here on TikTok until 10. So if you want to be part of the conversation a little bit earlier, also follow over there, because I'll be live over there first, and we have some pretty good conversations in that first half an hour. So it's only 10. It is not only 10 here. It's called time zones. So, guys, thank you so much for the likes, the shares, the gifts, and the subs. I appreciate all of you so very, very much. I couldn't do it without you. You guys are amazing, just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye, guys. Goodbye, YouTube.